Fresh out the box.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Fresh Out the Box Does TTRPG Reviews. I am the board game guru and game master extraordinaire, Johanan.
It's me, Casualty CDG, co-host of Fresh Out the Box and Fresh Out the Podcast. If you like movies, video games, and streaming shows, check out Fresh Out the Podcast, available where all podcasts are available. But today we're doing TTRPG stuff. We're taking a look at some books. We're not playing anything. We're not building any characters. We're learning. We're doing what we promised we would do. We're looking at books. We're learning. We're telling you about them. We're telling you whether or not these books are fresh and you should spend their money on them. John, what books are we looking at today?
Today, first up, we're going to be looking at Sagas from an indie dev.
Oh, is this a game about people who wear their pants down below their butt?
That's Sagas.
Oh, yeah. That's a different game?
Sagging. I don't know. Yeah, that's a different game.
That's a different game.
That's pants saggers, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you can do that in this game. I'll report back.
You probably can, but on the cover, one of the characters is wearing suspenders, so it's not looking good.
Oh, man, no.
It's not looking good for pants sagging. And then the other game we'll be talking about is...
I'm wearing a belt, too.
Yeah.
That's 2 out of 3.
It's not good. The other game we'll be talking about is Dead Air. I'll show it real quick. Dead Air Seasons.
Yeah, there you go. I was going to say, it's not just Dead Air. If you look up Dead Air TTRPG, there's already one. This is Dead Air Seasons, not to be confused with Dead Air.
Yeah, the other one is a TTRPG about a radio that does not work.
You're actually right.
Bro, there's no way I'm actually right.
Yeah, you are. It is a solo TTRPG. It's a solo survival TTRPG with zombies, and you're in a radio station. You're exactly right.
That actually, first off, that sounds awesome, and I want to play it. But like, come on, man, really, I got it right.
Like, yeah, you did. You nailed it.
That was a straight guess. All right, well, hey, guess I'm on it. So let's get on it. Here's Sagas.
Look at Sagas. All right, Sagas first.
For an indie game, that cover art is pretty fire. That's pretty cool.
Who done this, John? Who done this? What company created this game?
So, the company.
Sagas?
Yeah, the company is pretty much just Sagas. It looks like it has a sole developer, Dennis Fleming, who is also known as the okayest DM on Twitter.
I know him. I follow the okayest DM on Twitter. That's funny. I didn't know this guy made a game.
Synth Weasel, it might be. The creator might be in our Discord because we were friends on Twitter, so it's entirely possible. They did, they've signed up with us and they've, been like, hey, do our stuff. So they might be in our Discord, yeah. Setting a genre agnostic system. I'm trying to see if there's any. No, yeah, it seems like it was really developed by just one person. Cover and interior art is by Rookzer. Oh, so an alias there.
Rook Zero.
Yeah, maybe Rook Zero.
Rook Zero. Mm-hmm.
What is Sagas? Let's see. Is this going to be important? If this is your first TTRPG, welcome. You're in for a treat. You can think of TTRPGs. All right, we don't need to think of it. We know what TTRPGs are, so I'm going to skip this part, as we always do.
Setting agnostic. I heard you say it, but it didn't click. That means it can be played in any setting, no matter what setting or world you want to tell. You could do it with the Sagas. So,
yeah, fantasy, steampunk, space, underwater,
cool.
Cthulhu. Yeah, it
modern.
seems like. Well,
oh, look, they have a whole list.
They have a whole
D20
list.
That's great.
Here are some of the vast worlds you could play in. Roll or pick 1 to 3 items on the table below to generate a setting or genre. So you can mix and match. So we can do a dark post-apocalyptic western. We can do a horror sci-fi cyberpunk game. We can do a modern day war story and make it an epic. We could do superheroes in historical settings, dealing with politics. Yeah, so we really, yeah, honestly, that already kind of gets me fired up here.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. That's a really cool generator that he built there.
Yeah, it's smart. It's simple. It wasn't necessarily the most difficult thing to put together, but it's impactful.
And it says that you should pick, roll 1 to 3 times, or mix and match. That's kind of the point, is to mix these worlds and have fun with this. So I'm in, man. I like the flavor this is setting up.
Me too. This is not what I was expecting.
Total character customization and mixing worlds. Yeah.
Since Sagas can be used to play in any setting, it can be used to jump between them and mix your favorite franchises, worlds, and characters. You can teleport between worlds, shift across dimensions, and reflavor your character to fit each new setting, or have fun being a stranger in a strange place. How to play. It's just giving you the basics, what you need. It looks like you're going to be using D12, D10, D8, and D6, so many, many dice, which Gary always likes.
Mm-hmm.
We'll shoot down a little bit here. Let's see. It gets into, very quickly, it gets in to contested checks and stuff. Let's see. Well, how many dice I think? Alright, so all checks use at least 1 dice, but there are ways to roll more. Boost your roll for 3 of your effort to get +1 die. An ally uses help for 2 of their effort for +1 die. You benefit from cover being hidden. You can get a +1 die. So that it seems like a dice pool game. The players roll the dice. If multiple dice are rolled, use the lowest result. If the roll is equal to or lower than the difficulty, the PC. Okay, so you're going for low.
Yes, it is low. I just saw the rules right above that as well. Is this check an attack without a weapon? If so, use a D12. If not, use a D10.
Very
This
cool.
is this system, I can already tell it's the type of thing that I'm going to have to read over a couple times to see how all the wheels work.
I think we're looking at, because it uses the similar dice size change as Savage Worlds.
Okay.
Remember, because Savage Worlds, when you get better at skill, your dice goes from D4 to D6 to D8 to D12.
Correct.
Yeah. So that's cool. And yeah, just like in that game, you can roll extra dice. You can willingly fail checks, blah, blah, blah. We're just trying to get at the meat of this. So we're not going through an exhaustive review here, but we're getting the meat. There are contested checks. Good. Character creation. Here we go. This is something. Player characters in Sagas don't have classes or species with a set leveling structure and predetermined abilities. Instead, you get to mix and match the features in almost any combination, allowing for some extremely unique and powerful builds.
Interesting. Hell yeah.
Excellent. So, build guides. You only need
You
a
only
few
need a few
things.
things to create a level 1
There you go.
character. 2 health, 2 effort, 2 traits. Those traits are going to be on page 9. 2 struggles, which will be on page 11. You can get 3 traits, and if you do, you can do 3 struggles. After your struggles, you do talents. You get 3 talents, all at rank 1. If the GM allows it, you might be able to get powers instead. Those would be on page 21. You'll get 2 pieces of non-advanced equipment. Your size is medium, unless you have a feature that says otherwise. A backstory is optional, and then it says flavor with an exclamation point. So that one's not optional. The really cool things I want to hit on here are the traits and struggles, talents. So we're going 9, 11, 13. We're gonna jump up some odd numbers here and look at these different things.
No, yeah, excellent. Yeah, no, it sounds so far. This sounds cool.
Traits. All right. I was peeking at these traits earlier, and I just jumped down to page 9 if you're looking for me. I jumped down to page 9 to look at these traits. It says you can take 2, but you might be able to take 3 if you also do 3 flaws. It's up to you and your game master. So you can create your own traits. I was looking at this, and it's like a bunch of mumbo jumbo until you understand what it means, right? So your trait must be a static feature. It's not something that can be improved. It gives you a passive ability or allows an extra D8 on something. A trait cannot have limited uses. A trait must not allow checks to be made with a D6. If you make a trait that's too powerful, consider how the people and societies in the game would react and develop knowing that such a trait exists. So try not to be cheesy if you make your own trait. I'm cool with all that. Some examples. Attractive is the first one. It affects your persuasion. It lets you roll the D8 whenever you're trying to be pretty. Big is the next one. Due to your bulk, you cannot be forcibly moved by anything smaller than you. You also take up 4 spaces, and so now you're big. Climber, Crafter's Heritage, Heat Resistance, Heat Vision, Heatless, affects your stealth, whether you're an ice demon, cold-blooded, or a robot. Vision that relies on heat sensing. You're heatless. Look at that. That's cool.
Yeah, heat
Keen
vision
sense.
is actually predator sight, not laser beams.
Yes.
Which I was confused. I was like, wait, that's a superpower. Shouldn't it be with... Nope, it's vision type. That's cool.
Very cool. Okay. Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Keen sense, lucky, night vision, not hungry, whether you're a zombie, robot, or something else, you don't have to eat. Photosynthesis, you can heal in the sun. Power affinity, prehensile tail, rough skin, shadowy statue. Sleepless means you don't gotta sleep. Small means you're small. Soft-footed makes you quiet. Soul-sucking, if you spend an hour socially engaged with a living creature, you may choose to fully restore your effort pool. If you do so, and the creature is another PC, their effort pool empties. That's what's his name, Robinson from the Vampire Show.
Oh, soul sucking?
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. Sure-footed, thick skin, vampirism, vocal mimicry, water-breathing, webbed hands and feet, wings. So those are examples. You can make your own, but obviously those are all pretty big things that affect your character. And you're picking 2 or 3. So you're going to be a whole guy after this.
Yeah. No, it sounds... So the characters sound like they have the same vibes that you might get from, like, Gamma World characters. Like, off the wall. They could be... Like, they could be tame, but they don't have to be by any means.
I completely agree.
It said you could be a zombie.
Yeah, and a robot, and you could have thick skin and plant, photosynthesis. So you could be like a robot zombie plant. You know what I mean? That's next level. So then you have to pair those, right? If you're picking 3, you pick 3 struggles. If you're picking 2, you pick 2. I'm going to fly through these too, but let's see. A struggle must prevent the PC from making a check, doing an action, or state that you must use a D12 for a certain check. So these are really shooting yourself in the foot. First one, anarchist, social. You have a problem with authority. Checks made to socially interact with authoritative figures, you must use a D12. If you fail, you refuse to follow any directives they give, cannot have the meek struggle. Arrogant is the next one. You always assume you'll succeed and cannot make checks to determine your chance of failure. Bad driver.
That's funny.
Bad driver, it makes you drive with a D12. Bad sense, smell, hearing, touch, you pick one. You can keep taking it and pick different senses every time, but it makes you use a D12. Bad taste, can't swim. Chatterbox, defeatist, greedy, hesitant, hoarder, impulsive theft, insomnia, clumsy, low stamina, meek. You have problems with authority, checks made to socially interact. If you fail, you're submissive to that authority. Oh, so it's the exact opposite. You just always do what authority says versus always doing the opposite. That's funny. Miserly, moths to a flame. Ability stealth, D12. Everybody wants to bask in your glow, and your significant presence in a room is a drawback. Your checks to escape or hide must use a D12. I have that in real life. When you're 6'3" and 300 pounds and you wear bright colors, you can't sneak out of anywhere. Everybody knows when you're leaving.
I have bad taste. Your outfit always stands out in a bad way. Checks to avoid being noticed in a crowd, use a D12.
Yep, give me both of those. Moths to a flame and bad taste. That's me. Then we have naive, narcoleptic, poor memory, power attraction, rough skin, sensitive sense, shy, and the bad things of vampirism.
Oh, yeah. I guess you can
then we
just
have
take the good
talents.
things.
You can. The good things are up top.
Yeah, you can just take the good things up there, and then... But you can also take both. And just be a vampire. That's pretty cool.
Sure can. Yep. I would play this game. I'm letting you know right now I would play this game.
I would already... I would love to play it.
I don't even know how the engine works. But I can talk about the talents. The talents are next. So you get 3 talents, and it says they're all going to be rank 1 when you start. And this was also where it said you could maybe get a power if your game master said so, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Let's look at the talents first. Talent can be learned and improved. So you can create your own talents as well as creating your own whatever from earlier. Talents require effort to be spent. They can have multiple ranks. They should not increase or decrease the die size. Instead, they should state may use a d6, may use, not must. Must. Right?
Yeah.
May use a d8, must. Then it says must use a 10, must use a 12. So it has to be may 6, may 8, or must 10, must 12. We'll figure out what that means in a second, I'm sure. But I know 10s and 12s are worse. No ranks under 3 allow a d8 to be used to attack. Okay, no ranks under 6 allow a d6 to be used to attack. No ranks under 2 allow a d8 be used to avoid, and no ranks under 5 allow a d6 to be used to avoid. Boy, I don't know what any of this is saying, man. Are you keeping up with this?
Yeah. It's so essentially they don't want you, because like these powers can be like you can use a d8 to when you're rolling to avoid detection. If you're doing that, then whatever talent is saying that you can do that has to be at least a 2 to be giving you that d8.
Okay, I think I understand.
Yeah.
And finally, the last one, nothing should deal more than 2 damage or add more than 1 damage. So let's get into the examples. These will probably help me as well. Alien Translator, and it's got 7 ranks. Rank 1, you can read and write basic ideas. Rank 3, you can communicate basic ideas. Rank 4, you are read and write fluently. Rank 5, communicate fluently. Rank 6, checks that benefit from using this language may use a D8. And rank 7 may use a D6.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're making your own, that really comes out of nowhere. So I would be using the pre-made ones for a while.
Yeah, that's what they're there for.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so let's look in the pre-made ones. These are all the different talents. Like I said, you're picking 3. They'll be at level 1. Alien Translator, Analyst, Arcanist, Bodybuilder, Craft, Disarm, Disease Doctor, Dodge Melee, Dodge Ranged, Dodge Powers, Dodge Psychic, Driver, Dual Wielding, Explosive Training, Fast Reflexes, Finishing Blow, Gambling, Gripper, Hacker, Handy, IT, Influencer, Investigator, Journalist, Knowledge, Legalese, Martial Arts, Mechanic, Navigate Administration, the ability to jump through needless hoops and get information from organizations, Navigation, Paramedic, Parry Encounter, Pilot, Potent Powers, Remove Struggle, Sharpshooter, Shield Cover, Sidekick, Telepathy, Sneak, Tough, Sprinter, Translator, Stealthy Stow, Urban Survivalist, Sweet Talker, Exotic Weapons Training, Improvised Weapons Training, Uncommon Weapon Training, Melee Weapon Training, Whip Weapon Training, Whirlwind, Wild Survivalist, Projectile Weapon Training, Thrown Weapon Training, and Wrestler.
Yeah.
This goes right back into your characters are just can absolutely be anything. Anything at all. I really like these choices. They're all over the place.
Yeah, you can create like I said, you can create custom ones, so you can spaceship pilot. Shit, that's the only one I could think of. Geologist. I don't know.
There you go. That's a good one. Volcanologist. They study volcanoes.
Yeah, volcanologist. That's fun. After that, we get into the powers. Powers work exactly like talents. The difference is that powers don't exist in the modern world. They could be superpowers, magical abilities, cybernetic augmentations, etc. So pretty much anything that's above human capabilities is considered a power. So if your setting or your game allows, people can take powers. Powers or power components.
Everything we just read is things that a person could do.
That anyone could do. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay.
And the stuff we're reading now is stuff that only some sort of supernatural or cybernetic or blah 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 thing can do.
Got it. Got 'em. I'm in.
There are power components. So when you learn a power for the first time, you must pick 2 of the 3 below requirements to use all powers. Once you pick the requirements, they cannot be changed. So you're essentially choosing your spell components here. So speaking, you could choose. So you have to talk. Movement, so somatic components like in Dungeons and Dragons. An object, so that's a material cost. And so you have to choose 2 of those 3. So it could be speaking and an object. It could be a movement and an object, like you wave a wand. Yeah, blah blah blah. So without further ado,
you can pick a single object for all of your powers. You don't have to keep picking a new object every time. You don't have to have a backpack full of bullshit. You can
probably
pick your staff.
That would be okay.
It does say it right here.
Okay, cool.
Because I was immediately curious if you had to keep picking a different object. That would make casters weird in this setting. But it does say this can be a single object for all powers, or a different object for each one.
Yeah, essentially, you can do an implement, or you can be like a gadgeteer. So, blood power, control earth, fire, water, wind, create illusion, create storm, create weapon, detect magic, detect tech, develop trait, enchant weapon, disable force field, disrupt, heal. This is a good amount here. Infect, raise monster. You can create undead. Okay, cool. Many faces. Summon animal. Power field. Summon dragon. What? Powered deflection. Summon goblin. That's very specific. Teleport major. Teleport minor. And then equipment is the next section. Yeah, so yeah, you really can't do anything. You can do a superhero game here. You could play fantasy with this. And it'd be pretty solid, I think.
In equipment, It says you get 2 pieces, I think, of non-advanced equipment and 1 piece of advanced magic stuff.
Something like that.
I think that's what it said.
There are 3 types:
Not,
common, uncommon, and exotic.
and not all equipment can be worn at level 1.
Oh, yeah. And then you can also create equipment. So there's armor, advanced, armor fine, magical armor. There's a lot of stuff here. I don't know if we should go through all of it. There's machine guns. Effigy of an elder god. That's one of them. So, there's a lot here.
Grenades are just right there.
Pole arms, shotguns, grenades, tomes, legendary weapons.
Heavy machine gun.
And then there's monsters. This is how you create monsters. Boss monsters.
I think spiked gauntlets is important to mention. That's something I used to always look for in a game. I always want to know if I could put them that beat down.
It's fair.
You can give,
this
you can give
game,
them the beat down.
I feel like it's safe to say you could absolutely beat people down in this game. Boss monsters and then horde monster types. Here's some quick-made creatures. Android assassins, bandits, banshees, dragons. Dragons. They get into it on dragons. Giant spiders, goblins, ogres, radioactive golems, harvesters, hydras, malfeasians, wisps, wolves, zombies, toy soldiers, all kinds of stuff. Rules to create your own monsters. And then here's some character stats. Some pre-made characters. Looks like they're the ones from the front of the book.
Yes, they are. Cybin, Lucinda, Chief Ortiz, and Ekeko.
I don't see Chief Ortiz.
Why don't you see Chief Ortiz?
I don't see Chief Ortiz.
Why not?
Oh, Lucinda, who is Chief Ortiz. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see that.
There you go. Now you see it.
Well, that's the whole quick start. It is available on Drive-Thru RPG. Check it out. Sagas, available for... This quick start is free, and it has everything you need. It is a work in progress, the creator told me. But they're always looking for people to try it out, give them feedback. I imagine there's going to be more of everything when it releases.
I wonder what's in a Wonder Ball. I wonder what his character sheets look like. At the bottom, that's not really a character sheet. That's more of like an advancement, like what you would look for advancing.
True.
I wonder what the character sheets will be like.
Yeah, I wonder what a finalized character sheet would look like. But it looks like, when you're looking at it, it looks pretty simple. You have health, you have equipment, you have struggles and traits, and then you have your talents, and that's it.
Yeah, I like to see a character sheet just
Fair.
so I can. Yeah, I like to see one. It to me, the layout of your character sheet's important. It sort of frames your game for me. You know, I've read this. Now I need to see the skeleton to start plugging stuff in.
Yeah.
It's kind of a bummer there's not one down there, and maybe you just kind of make your own since there's so much mixing and matching and writing whatever you want. Maybe it was just sort of insane to even try to make a character sheet. But yeah, I was looking for one, I will say that. What do you think about Sagas, John?
I like it. I think I would use it to run some sort of crazy Treasure Planet style space nonsense.
What do you think about the art throughout this book?
I like the art.
I like the art. It's mostly sketch art,
A lot of it's sketch art. It's not all finished art, but it works. I think.
Yeah,
I mean, one person made this book, and one illustrator. I think they did. Honestly, man, this is really good for a solo operation, man. If me and you put something together and it looked like this, I'd be proud of it.
I'd be proud of this, and this looks like fun to play.
It does.
So. I'm gonna certify this fresh out the box.
I'm gonna certify this fresh, man. This is absolutely a great looking game. They didn't lose the plot, man. Like, they made a game that looks fun, and that's what you're supposed to do. And good for them.
Great work, Dennis Fleming, the okayest DM. Great work on this one. I'm looking forward to Sagas, and I'll tell other people to look for Sagas.
Yeah, I'll make sure to send him the video of this on YouTube.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Sagas, available on Drive-Thru RPG. So yeah, check it out. Well, Gary, what do we got next?
That leaves Dead Air. And I don't mean that we're just going to be silent for the next hour and a half. I mean that there's a game called.
That was Dead Air.
I mean that there's a game called Dead Air Seasons. And so we're going to take a look at Dead Air Seasons. It's a zombie game looking like. I say zombie because Jahan said zombie, but then Jahan said this may be more like The Last of Us. And yeah, that's probably true. It looks it might be kind of a plant zombie type of situation. Either way, it's called Dead Air Seasons, and that's because the seasons matter. The seasons are sort of how you progress the game. It's a narrative game. It's not a combat simulator, so it's definitely much more narrative in which the game master says, so where are you guys going now and why? And then the players answer, we're going over here to get gas, or whatever they want to do. And then that's the scene, and that's what you go do. And until you get gas or can no longer get the gas, then that's it. Then you do a new scene. Where are you guys going? What are you doing next? This game very much seems to be what reminds me of that Xbox game that came out, that zombie one from a few years ago that was really, really well received, and then they made a second one that was trash.
State of Decay.
State of Decay. I know, I like how you knew exactly which one I was talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
This one seems like Survivors. It seems like a camp. It seems like a base. It really seems like State of Decay, kind of. So I'm excited to get into this. I was browsing it before we started and couldn't look away. Actually, Sagas was really cool, but I gotta say the art in Dead Air Seasons just knocked me on my cheeks, man.
It's good. It's very good.
It's great art, awesome color palette, and I love a narrative design game. I love a good narrative game, so I would play. I'm gonna tell you right now, I would play Dead Air Seasons just from looking at it.
I'm glad you said that because I already bought this game. This is a quick start. I backed this game on Kickstarter in November of last year. You can't back it anymore. You might be able to late pledge now on BackerKit if you're interested in this game. You know me, I'm a zombie boy, so I saw this, I couldn't pass it up. Yeah, man, this game's about. It talks about the world, talks about community, characters, crises, and seasons of the blight. So this seems cool. The season seems like an important detail in Dead Air Seasons. So, in Dead Air Seasons, the passage of time is an important element and is represented by the succession of the seasons. Focusing on community and crises, the narrative advances quickly. Each time a crisis is resolved, the master of the blight, which I guess is what they call their DMs, evaluates the degree of success achieved by the character. It fills 1 to 4 boxes on a special counter. Filling all the boxes marks the end of a season. These seasons are intended to act as long narrative arcs that can span 1 or more years, at the end of which the region, community, and characters will no longer be what they used to be. Sounds interesting. This... I'm fresh out the box. We're always looking for fresh concepts, and this seems like just that. So,
and this is one of those ones that I like to talk about whenever the theme is sort of baked into the writing. It gets you real quick. I mean, it sets the stage for what you're going to be doing.
This game's got the feels, absolutely. That's one of our top grading criteria when we're reviewing stuff. Is does the theme permeate through the words? And yeah, I agree, it absolutely does. As a guideline for getting into Dead Air Season setting, keep these simple points in mind. Nature is prosperous, wild, and has already taken over much of what humanity has built. So yeah, that absolutely falls in line with like The Last of Us. The awakened are everywhere, but often the real danger is represented by other people, much in the fashion of both of those actually. Yeah.
Everything.
Most new zombie content, tends to focus on that.
On the next page, it actually says Last of Us Part 1 and 2, Station 11, The Road, Contagion, 28 Days Later, 28 Weeks Later, Mad Max Fury Road, and Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Where does it say that?
On page 9.
Oh, page 9. I passed that one. Are those the inspirations?
Mm-hmm. It's the stories of people and it says the inspirations like Last of Us 1, 2, Station 11 in the road. And then it
Oh, yeah, I see
says others can be difficult to trust in a hostile road, in a hostile world. So it recommends movies like Contagion, 28 Days, 28 Weeks, Mad Max, and Rise of the Planet of the Apes for how people will act.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, man. This very interesting so far.
I love that they said it, so that it's not just us saying it. It's not our take. They
Yeah.
said it. You know.
No, it's definitely
It's not-
those are my inspirations too. So it's
our opinions were right. We were right. Those were their those were their inspirations. It's nice to hear them say it. Yeah, exactly.
let's get into it. So that's the Master of the Blight. So you were talking about scenes, right?
I was talking about scenes earlier. Yeah.
So on page 15, it talks about the role of the Master of the Blight. So that's the Game Master. The MB, if you will. If you are the MB and you are running a scenario, after the opening scene, follow this pattern. Ask the characters where they want to go and what they want to do. Contextualize the new scene by saying where it takes place and when and what is happening. Briefly introduce the new scene and leave the floor to the characters. During the scene, if an action is uncertain or you act with an opponent threat, call a position or defensive check. Then start over, leaving the floor to the characters. When the character's stated purpose for the scene is achieved or can no longer be achieved. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Return to step one. So that's interesting. That's an interesting flow. Yeah, seems pretty. Yeah, it's definitely a narrative-based game. It's nice to see a narrative game that's not necessarily powered by the apocalypse.
I agree.
Because like that's
agree.
kind of been like, I don't know how to characterize it without sounding negative on powered by the apocalypse. Because I like Powered by the Apocalypse, but it seems that every narrative game uses that, and so it's nice to see something different.
Fate is better.
And that's also narrative?
Yeah, Fate's a narrative system, and it's better than PBTA. It's not even close. It is better. And PBTA is cool. It's just something totally different.
Yeah. PBTA has just become such like, it's like a hot button. Like, it's like, what do you call it? It's the fad right now in TTRPGs.
Yeah, it's an open system, and it's free to use, and people are using it, and it's fun and approachable, I suppose.
And it's very popular.
Yeah, it's not my favorite. It's not my favorite narrative system.
It hasn't been my favorite either. I'm looking forward to Avatar, which uses it, but it's just it's hit or miss for me.
Yeah, I get it. So I agree. I'm in total agreement with you. I'm looking forward to a different narrative system. And speaking of the system, this is where the meat of the system is on page 18. I know that it says that when a character does something, you ask for a position check or a defense check. And so this is how it all starts. When a character takes an action, the MB, that is movement bowel, must ask, is the character acting against an opposition to carry out their action? Or is the character defending from an opposition that is acting against them? So one would be a position check, the first one. The second one would be a defense check. So this applies whenever the character's active action is hindered by the presence of an external threat. You get to choose. You choose the how hard it is, and I'm pretty sure in this game it's only like +1s and 2s, if I'm not mistaken. You're only looking to barely beat the game master's rolls. I think you use only a D6. Is that correcto?
For what?
Is this game? Do you just use a pool? Is it a pool game, or do you use a single D6?
Right here it says reading the dice.
There you go.
So Dead Air Seasons uses common 6-sided dice that can, however, take on different values. Having dice of 3 different colors makes it easier to read the results. So it looks like, this might be, this seems like a 3D6 system, potentially. So maybe
it does sound like that.
The only one that we played is Age, and we do like it. This definitely sounds different, though. Standard dice, a failure happens when a 1 is rolled. Results from 2 to 6 count as additional successes.
So you're probably rolling all 3 bones and hoping that a 1 doesn't get shown?
Something like that. Advantage dice. 1 counts as a neutral result. Rolls from 2 to 6 count as additional successes. And then there's a drawback dice. I think you're rolling all 3 and adding them up. Drawback dice on 1 or 2, failure. Rolls from 3 to 6 are additional successes.
I see. Okay, yeah. I understand.
A single failure, 1 on a standard dice, 1 to 2 on drawback, causes the entire check to fail. A neutral result does not determine the automatic failure of the check, but it's not considered a success either. Therefore, changing the outcome if the total number of successes is less than the opposition level, the check fails.
So you're rolling 3d6. One of them is your standard dice, one of them is your advantage die, and the other one is your drawback die. And
you might not have to roll them all at once.
And if you fail on any of those, then you fail the entire check.
Yes.
Okay.
Which sounds harsh, but this game seems difficult like that. It seems like it's supposed to kind of have that like live or die feel. Let's see. The MB never rolls dice in this game, which I have mixed feelings about, but I do find it is very convenient for streaming that I don't have to roll. Well, we're going to look.
You would change the OL, so the threat level, by plus or minus 1 based on the situation, the narrative position, the equipment, and the abilities of opponents and characters.
Yeah.
Assigns a drawback dice to the character is a result of a gift from an opponent or threat, or as a result of a cost in the action immediately preceding the current one. So a drawback die is something a game master sort of gives you as a punishment or a threat.
It's like disadvantage, it seems.
Okay. The more I read this, it makes sense immediately.
It's making more sense very quickly, yeah.
I love that my questions are answered on the next page. I don't have to go 15 pages down and then go, oh, this goes back there. Yeah. They're doing a good job of feeding me this information.
I agree. Yeah, it's we've come across it like, where is this talked about? Yeah, it happens a lot. The characters. So checks if one of their descriptors can help with the action. If so, the player explains how and gets the chance to spend Soma points. Then compares their base successes equal to the attribute in use with the opponent's or threat's OP. To get a positive outcome, the character must try to obtain a total of successes given the sum of base successes and additional successes that can be at least equal to the OP they're facing. Chooses the type of outcome they are aiming for. So the character chooses the type of outcome they're aiming for, modifying the goal value accordingly. So outcome with a cost, base level operation, standard outcome is +1, and outcome with an increment is opposition level +2. So the if you're trying for a big win, if you're trying just to barely survive, it's a lower difficulty. But if you're trying to do something crazy, it's higher. So that makes sense. That's pretty typical.
And it looks like they range from 3 to 5 for an average check, where 9 is the greatest possible. You can't do this. So 3, 5, you can probably do it. 6, 7, it's pretty hard. 8 is real hard. 9, like, come on, no one should be beating a 9.
Yeah. And then you're going to evaluate if you're entitled to 1 or more advantage dice as a result of a gift owned by them or the community, or as a result of an increment in the action immediately preceding the current one.
Nice.
Resolves any advantage or drawback dice rolled. Advantage and drawback dice cancel each other out with a 1-to-1 ratio. Are limited to a maximum of 3 dice in a single check. So it looks like if you get one of the negative dice and one of the good dice, they cancel out, which makes sense because even if you roll both, it's still a huge detriment that this one's here because on a 1 or 2 you fail completely. So that makes sense. So they're keeping the dice down, which I feel is smart. I remember there was a dice pool game that we looked at where I was rolling like 8 dice over and over. Man, I was like, dude, this is too much. We need to cut down on these dice. And then this is more, we're getting more into the, I think we have an idea of the system, and it seems like we like it. It's very simple. This scene looks like it's straight.
Infected.
You can?
You can get infected.
Okay.
You become a Zambo. You can finish out your scene. You have one last chance to do a thing, and then you become a zombie. That's it.
Contamination and awakening, yeah.
Yeah, and it says that you can become an awakened, and that's really dangerous. But then I was scrolling down like, whoa, what does that mean? But I think that's going to be, I think it's like one of those more information to come in the full book.
Quite possibly.
Mm-hmm.
A new season is about to come, so this is the crux of the system. This is the major thing. It has the railway scenario, which we will not look at.
Well, I mean, I'm going to look at it, but I'm going to just see sort of the main idea.
We'll skip it a little bit. Well, there's a synopsis.
Takes 3 days, and it's about 7 scenes.
It's not bad.
Nope, that's pretty cool.
It looks like it really lays it out for you, so this looks like it's pretty quick, and it has each scene. I'm going to fast forward through it.
Really, this is all just a ton of their narrative stuff and a ton of their scenarios. And then we get down to the survivors at the bottom.
There we go.
Which Jahan, I would like to point out, I breezed over it this time, or I didn't see it maybe, but this game doesn't have a create your own character. In this game, you play as one of these survivors.
This is the quick start, so that's probably what that is.
I think so, but it also, when we were just zip through their scenarios, it did have like particular, like, this is what you would say to this character. This is what you would say to this character. So I think if they continue to do that, in their next book of examples, maybe you do just stick to these characters. Maybe it's more of a personal story if you do.
So, the game that I am writing for, Cthulhu Dreamt, we're supposed to, the scenarios that we're writing, like I'm writing a scenario for them like this, it's supposed to have pre-made characters, and you're supposed to put rules for the interactions just like this in there. But the final game is not pre-made characters only. So it could be that way, but it also might not be. So
let's take a look at these characters. We don't know what their gifts are or what their powers and things, what any of that means. We kind of read about it. But since we weren't shown the character creation section, we're shown these guys. Maybe we can sort of deduce something.
Yeah.
It looks like he's got gift first aid, gift luck, gift handyman.
It also looks like he's something called an expert savant.
Well, that seems redundant.
It does seem redundant.
Oh, there's a hyphen in between. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's two things.
She's a savant athlete.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm seeing what you're talking about here. Oh, this other guy's a fighter criminal. Now we're talking.
Yep.
Oh, he looks awesome, too. He's bald, and he's got a gas mask.
Elena is a manipulator fighter.
Constantine is a fighter athlete, and he's also got an eye patch.
Yeah. So, yeah, it does seem like there is... Oh, they have character sheets, Gary.
Yeah, they do have character sheets underneath that. So first you get little character samples to read them, and then you get character sheets with everything tighter in a better format. I love that. I love seeing that.
So it looks like archetypes are made of two things that you mash them together, which I love because it gives you character complexity without having 1,000 archetypes. I really like it. And then you have your gifts. You have it looks like each gift has some sort of tidbit attributed to it. You also have
You have a
Bonds.
you have a yesterday's world, and along the way, and a today's world, and a tomorrow's world. You have one of each,
So okay,
and it
so
look
his gift from yesterday's world is I studied some medicine, but I only practiced on animals. His gift from yesterday's world is first aid.
it looks to me
It's cool.
like there are little dots there to be filled in
Potentially.
as well. So maybe you don't start with each one. Maybe you pick one as you go,
Maybe, yeah. Yeah.
and then you have bonds at the bottom as well.
You have bonds as well. Um, you have attributes, body, reaction, mind, presence, determination, 5 stats. You have wounds. You have your soma points and your PNRs, which I don't remember what those are. But yeah, this is solid. This is solid. This
I would
game
play
is not
this.
what I expected. Either. I like it.
How do you feel about the art? I asked you the same thing last time. How do you feel about the art?
The art in this is outstanding.
Yeah, the art's killer in this one.
This is one of the better. This is one of the better art books that we've seen. I think. I really like it.
Layout's pretty noteworthy. The other one we were looking at was a quick start, so I didn't want to hit him on layout too bad. But the
Yeah.
layout in this one's pretty great. Like I said, as I was looking for information, it was usually a page or two down from when I had a question.
Yeah, the layout's killer.
Uh,
The organization's it's fantastic. The artwork's great. It seems like they had a very cohesive vision, and it seems like they achieved it. So
Yeah, it was also. I was talking before we set the stream live. It looks like an Italian game by Italian designers that was translated into English, that's pretty dope. So that's I would like to say that's probably why they didn't use PBTA. They just figured let's make our own system. In Italia, we make our own system. Is what they say. So
this is a narrative. This is a non PBTA narrative game from Italy, and yeah, Gary, certified fresh. I can't wait to get these books. I already paid for them. I'm getting them eventually, and then we're probably gonna have to play this.
yeah, I'm gonna certify this fresh out.
This might be a fun winter game.
We also talked about doing some kind of base building game or something. So this seems like it could be in the vein.
It could
So
be in
I
the
like
vein.
that. Yeah. It may not be exactly the base building game we're looking for, but it may take us there.
I don't think it's gonna have like it does. It doesn't seem like it's gonna have like your walls are this strong. You have turrets. Your food's it doesn't seem like it's gonna be that like that. But it does seem like it's gonna have the story is gonna revolve around surviving in some sort of camp. So very much it'll have some of that flavor.
I'm interested to say the least.
The fact that
It
you're
seems like
interested
they
in a
did
zombie game is high praise.
The system seems great. It seems simple. It seems easy to understand. It seems like you roll a die, and sometimes you also roll an advantage die. And if stuff sucks, then you have to roll a you suck die, and that's about it.
Yeah, it's
and-
so simple.
Yeah.
Man, it's so simple.
So I think it would be pretty easy to get your feet wet. I'm gonna say it's I think I already said it's certified fresh out the box. but I'll
Definitely
say it
certified
again.
fresh. I'm kind of in awe, honestly. It is impressively simple and beautiful. It is a work of art.
Shout out to the World Anvil. That's who publishes this game.
Absolutely. World Anvil's dope, and if they see this, hi, we're fresh out the box, and we like your stuff.
Send it to them. Send them an
I'm
email
going to.
after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta
They'll see
send it to both these people that made both these
Mm-hmm.
books. Hey man, we looked at books today. How do you feel about it?
I actually, usually I feel like there's a chance we come across a flop. I feel like there's even a chance we come across two that I'm not too excited for. But I did think that Sagas looked like a lot of fun. Reminded me of Gamma World, which I never really got to play a long-form game. I'm not sure if anybody got to play long-form Gamma World. I'm not sure that's what it's for. But I thought Sagas looked fun. I would play Sagas. It looks like an insane good time. It also looks like you could strip out a lot of the optional things and make it anything you want it to be. And it's designed to be that way. I like that. Looks like a good time. And it balances with like advantages and flaws sort of the same way as Savage Worlds does.
Yeah.
And I like that system. So Sagas looked good. Dead Air, same thing. I thought Dead Air looked great, but totally the production quality was a lot higher. The game's a narrative game, so it's a whole different experience using D6s only instead of the whole array of die. So I don't think we could have looked at two different games today.
Two more
One
different
is
games, yeah.
exactly. It's like one is setting agnostic, and one is this is the survival zombie game. So we really looked at two opposite things. I think they are both great.
Yeah,
it's rare. It's rare to get two slam dunks.
I think we got two slam dunks here. Definitely, anyone watching, I suggest you check out Dead Air Seasons. You can probably get the quick start still at their website. Go check out World Anvil. Also, Backer Kit if you are interested in buying this book. And then Sagas is the quick start that we looked at today is available on Drive-Thru RPG. The creator is a single person creator. Check them out. The okayest DM on Twitter, and they are looking for feedback on their game. So absolutely. Also, I think they're in our Discord, so if you want to just come join our Discord, you can do that. There are links all over all of our stuff. But yeah, I think that's it for tonight, buddy. I have been the board game guru and game master extraordinaire, Johananon.
It's me, Casualty CDG, co-host of Fresh Out the Box, and also Fresh Out the Podcast. So you can catch us doing tabletop stuff on Thursdays and Fridays, but you can catch us talking about movies, streaming shows, and video games. A new episode comes out every Tuesday or Wednesday. It really depends. Just look out for Fresh Out the Podcast, available where all podcasts are available. We're at episode 104 already, so it's not like some fleeting moment. You know, you gotta get in there. You gotta get strapped in for that strap on of friendship and Fresh Out the Box. Fresh Out the Podcast.
Come strap
Thanks,
on some
everybody,
friendship.
Come strap on for friendship.
Hey, Gary, real quick, what are we doing next Friday?
Next Friday is going to be session 0 of Magpie Games' Avatar Last Airbender role-playing game. So we'll be meeting our new cast, first of all. We have an all-new cast, people we've never played with before. Mr. Kapow will be returning, of course, you know him. Friend of the show, Robert, has been invited to return, but it's been a very busy tax season, so I don't think he'll be able to make it. But we have an all-new cast, and so come meet all of our new cast members. Come see all of our brand new characters as we design them, and hear us talk about what we're going to be doing, what our flavor is for the campaign, what we want to do. So session 0 for Avatar by Magpie Games, that'll be next Friday, which is the 29th, September 29th. So be there or be busy with your real life, that's okay, and catch it on the VOD on YouTube. Okay, love you guys, thanks, bye!
Stay fresh, everybody.